Hi everyone, and welcome. I'm just gonna have to start with saying I've been quite sick for the last couple of weeks, so I still have the voice of a 13-year-old, so if it doesn't hold up, you know why. And I even got my little cards here, because I haven't had time to actually rehearse this at all. But yeah, welcome. And as I said, I'm not really sure if I'm happy or not about so many people coming to a multitasking session. That just means we're all still doing this, and that's just sad. Yeah. Conferences like SQL Bits is actually a kind of multitasking on a really high level. It might not be the first thing that actually comes to mind, but we are all scurrying around listening to different sessions all week or just a day. We're meeting new and old friends and talking to them. We're in new surroundings, trying to find the room, trying to find our way to the coffee, and yeah, everything. And we're eating new food, and we're sleeping in new beds, and we're all doing this with a big smile. Yeah, it's no wonder we're really tired in the end of the day. But this is actually not normal to us, and not expected of our brains to handle. But okay, one day, or some days. But what if this was all year round? I'd be an absolute ghost. So if you're tired of being this hydra with 5 heads who is trying to stay on top of everything at once, you're in the right place. We're going to look at some solutions. Even the slightest of change will make a big difference. What you actually really need is a strategy. I know time management isn't something new to you, and probably not the most exciting thing to talk about. But if you feel the need for this change, it's actually that simple. You need to manage your time. And as I said, it doesn't have to be a big change. You actually could start really small and just change one thing. And that will lead to an actual difference in your everyday life. And since you're here, something is probably not working the way you're doing it today. But yeah, we can all get better. While trying to do more, we are actually accomplishing a lot less. Bad habits, though, they take time to break. And it might not be done in a day, but be kind to yourself and accept that. But start the change today. My name is Linda Torong, and I work as a data platform engineer from Data Masterminds out of Amsterdam. And before that, I was working at a consultancy firm in Stockholm. And before that, I was actually in retail and journalism. And my favorite 2 things is data warehousing and Power BI. I love them. Just come talk to me about them. I'll go on for days. And not to forget, I'm a multitasking addict, and I will always be. It really escalated for me when I got kids. I tried to do everything at once. Be the good mom, be good at work, be a good partner, be a good friend. And I wanted it all, and I wanted to achieve it without hindrances. So I ran with it. And you know what? I did not do good. Instead of achieving what I hoped, I did a crappy job at work. I did a crappy job as a mom. I was even a crappier friend. And I'm not even going to go into the partner stuff. That was bad. It took me a while to actually find my bearing, and now I try to do great where I am, in the now. Being in the now is the hardest thing we people can do. But at the same time, it's the most important one. The now is the time you have. If you're not present, you are missing out. At work, or with your family, or just watching the waves with a friend. I had to stop thinking that I'm an exception who could do it all at the same time. I wasn't. And actually, neither are you. And that's okay. So this is my average day. Do you have a day like mine? If you're working on a range of different projects, which all of them require meetings, and you try to do some actual execution during those meetings, since they tend to drag on and occupy a lot of your time, yeah, at the end of the day, you're trying to hurry through some things you didn't have space for in your calendar during the day. Before closing down, you make some mental marks of things that you get done, and you write a list, and probably another mental list of what's to come. And this makes you feel in control. And yeah, that's all fine and dandy for a short period of time. But if this is every week, every month, year after year, it won't work. If you're doing this without focus and without a strategy, some things will be left behind. It might be your mental capacity or things that you actually forget about. If you recognize yourself according to this list, you definitely need a strategy. While trying to do a lot of things at once, you lose all sense of accomplishment. And each switch you make from one subject to another takes strain on your mental ability to focus. A day of skipping through several different things impacts your focus a lot. And after every switch, it will take you longer to get back into focus mode again. And that, my friends, is a silent killer. You won't notice it at first, but after some time, you'll get the sense that you are getting nothing done. And you're trying to do a lot of things all at once, and actually nothing is getting done. Trying to multitask can actually drop your IQ with the equivalent of a whole night's sleep. Yeah. Then how effective are you? Multitasking makes you dumber. It's just that simple. Yeah, this is me really. We already have a very intense job that requires of us to be on top of a lot of things at once. But we can't do that at the same time as doing our jobs. We have to make time for both of them at separate times. Otherwise, if we chop up every day into 100 different focus areas, our mental health is being slaughtered. And I'm sad to say, actually, that women are still at the most risk of this. Not just at our jobs. We tend to have a lot of other different things going on in our minds while trying to focus at work. If we could just let that part go while trying to do some actual work, we might accelerate far more with better focus. And then think what we could do. We might even buy Twitter. That would be good. There is really no such thing as multitasking. Our brains just ain't capable of it. Which means what we think is multitasking into a series of events done one by one. And if we could accept that and do one thing with maintained focus, we'll do great actually. If we focus on one thing and accomplish that, we will have a much better sense of accomplishment and feel good about what we actually have done. So stop doing all the things almost done and go on to the next one, because that will not make you feel good. It will actually just add to your stress hormones. If you were to write a query, you know that it will, for the most part, do one step at a time. And where it does get divided, it's not 100% on each node, because the percent actually decreases. And so does your brain. If you do two things at once, neither of them will get your full attention. and therefore being done with half the attention, or even less. And that's a good reminder to have. To think that we should be able to slim and focus our agenda to one thing or one project at a time, that sounds wonderful, but it's probably not doable in real life. So if we could actually take control of what we can do and try to take charge over our day, that is one step in the right direction. Take control. Start by logging how your everydays look like and try to determine where most of your time is being spent. Maybe you don't have to do all of those things. Can they be delegated, or can they be done at another time? It's better to do one thing good than several things half-assed. That's actually really true. No matter what kind of things and tasks that consumes your day, you're in need of a way of organizing the load of it. If you log what you spend your time on in any given day, you get visibility. And just like with our money and doing a budget, we know how much time we have to spend in each day. And if we know what we need to get done in that time, it's all the more manageable. Time box tasks as you budget money for different things. For example, if you need to build a data warehouse, you know that's going to take a lot of your time, and you need a lot of hours for that. So plan that time in. Maybe not all in one day, because you probably wouldn't save a big chunk of money in one day. You would save some each day. And if you plan those hours throughout the week, you know what you're supposed to do and when to do it. And if by the end of the week you're not done, then you know for next time what in your estimate actually went wrong. And you take that into account in the next time. That's actually just good practice of time management. You could block specific days or for different projects, or at least before lunch or after lunch, do some kind of management over this. Do the hardest part when you know you have the most attention to have focus. And set specific times. This is an important topic. Set specific times during the day where you check your email. Nothing, and I mean nothing, is really that time sensitive that you need to have Outlook on all the time. I do a week planning thing and write down the 3 most urgent things that I need to get done that week. And I fit those things in first in my agenda. And I do that when I know I will have the highest success rate of actually getting them done. Procrastinating important things is a dead sure way of feeling stressed. Just get them done and feel good with it. And in the end of every week, I actually write a gratitude journal. I know it sounds cheesy, but that's my way of actually reflecting on what I actually have achieved and where I am about to go. I write some things that I am thankful for, what could have been done better, and what I actually need. We shouldn't forget about that. What do I need to be better, to do better, to actually achieve this? All in the name of organization. My mind is a mess. My work and my life can't be. So take control. The most important thing, as I told earlier, is actually to shut down anything that steals your focus. Shut down Outlook, shut down Twitter, Slack, Teams, anything, and keep a full focus on what you're doing. This is one of the hardest things for me. I have zero self-control over this. I am that dog looking for a squirrel. So I need to actually place the phone somewhere else or to shut all of those things down to not get distracted. I even found that I concentrate better when I'm sitting beside someone else. Then I feel more obliged to not disturb that person. I think you all know what works for you. Pinpoint that and try to work more like that. There are 100 different ways of establishing better time management. It all comes down to actually making a decision to create a plan and follow through. Like any kind of addict, it's the starting point to actually accept that this is a problem. And we all know this already, so why haven't we started doing anything about it? To put it in words that you'll actually understand, if you could optimize a database or a Power BI report with a significant amount by doing one little change, would you do it? Yeah, you would. Of course. Take care of your mental capacity as you do with your technical optimizations. By doing less, you actually gain productivity. My best recommendation is the Pomodoro technique. And yeah, it is a tomato, but the technique works. There's apps, there's websites, and even gadgets where you set a time for a focus segment. Pomodoro often starts with 25 minutes, and for those 25 minutes, you are only, and I mean only, focusing on that specific task. Nothing else. Shut down all of those other apps and place your phone in another room. You're not to be disturbed. And after those 25 minutes, you get a 5-minute break where you get up and do something else. Reward yourself for actually having maintained that focus. And yeah, it doesn't have to be 25 minutes. Set it to what you want, but during that time of focus, you're supposed to be in focus mode. And you might think that you don't need help to focus, but really, you wouldn't be here otherwise. It can even help you to actually remind you to take breaks when you're deep into doing something really mentally draining. We need breaks to function. So as a conclusion, multitasking is bad. We can't focus on more than one thing at a time. When we try to, the result is actually less productivity and fatigue. We often talk about work-life balance, and that is an important thing. But if your work is total chaos, it doesn't matter how much time off you have, it's still an overwhelming chaos. And second, strategy is a good thing. We won't be able to get away from reality, which consists of several different projects continuously. But we can handle it with a bit more organization. So having a structure makes the mess easier to manage. You're actually supposed to last an entire working life. And you don't do that by running around putting out fires everywhere. With a conscious plan for your energy and focus, you will feel better and last a lot longer. So take care of yourselves and take responsibility for your own mental well-being. I have actually some recommendations for you to look into. But you find your own way of making the mess more organized. I love James Clear and how he, in his book of Atomic Habits, tells you about how to just the small changes makes a big difference. And that changing habits is one of the hardest things that we can do. But we can do it. And then there are different views on taking action and organizing your work, Pomodoro being one of them. Whichever makes the most sense in your head is the one to go with. But I highly recommend practicing monotasking. Doing one thing at a time is hard, but it is successful and it's much more healthy for us. But it is hard though, so be kind to yourself while you're practicing monotasking. Start by eating lunch without a TV or a phone. Just enjoy your food. Thank you for listening. My name is Linda Torung.